It is said that love is blind, but here are 6 important issues to discuss before you commit yourself into marriage. Number 1, rejection of your spouse by your parents, your friends, and your relatives. You may need to examine and evaluate all the issues that your family could be raising, the issues your relatives could be raising, because for sure, love can be blind to some things at that point, some red flags that you may have ignored. These are the people that may help you. These are the people that may see the red flags. Because the truth is, that love may be blind when you are courting, when you are dating, when you are going for coffee dates, when you are going out. But the reality will dawn on you when you get into the house with that man or that girl and realize that there were serious issues that you ignored. And probably you may have been told of such issues by your friends, by your relatives, by your parents. Please take into consideration the reasons why your family, your brothers, your sisters, your friends could be rejecting that person. You need to examine and evaluate the reasons why your parents could be telling you not to settle down into marriage with that person. The reasons that they give could be issues to do with the culture, the background, the character of the person you are dating. For example, there are still some cultures that believe that a woman is not loved until she's beaten by her husband. You may need to discuss that with your spouse to find out whether they still hold dear into these cultures, these behaviors, and consider them very carefully so that you don't get yourself into marriage. Then you are told that these are some of the practices that we have to go through before we settle down, or even as we settle down, or after we get married. These are some of the things that we have to do. For example, in Kenya, there is this culture: you should take your child to the grandmother so that the child can have their hair cut. A cultural practice. I may not know the reasons behind it, but it is a practice in some communities, and some people take it very seriously. So if you do not discuss this issue with your spouse to be, and they believe that after your child is born, the child should be taken to your mother-in-law or your mother, and you do not believe in that, then there will be serious conflict. Some of these issues may be the reason as to why your people, your parents, your friends would be telling you to be careful or rejecting this person, because probably this person holds on to those practices that may not have significant importance to you. The other issue is the issue of people who hold dear when it comes to naming of a child. You have to discuss these issues seriously and carefully, whether your spouse holds on to these practices. So these are some of the issues that you may discuss. Probably your family could be rejecting such a person because they know that people from such and such community hold very dearly into these practices. So when you see people reject your spouse to be, husband to be, your wife to be, please consider the reasons, evaluate them, and be careful. Some of them could be raising red flags that you may not be seeing now, especially the time when your love is totally blind. Number 2, age differences. They say that age is but a number. The reality is this: if you get married to someone who is many years younger or many years older than yourself, there could be some challenges. Remember that over 20 years, it means it is possible that this person, if they got a child at their teenage, then probably you are the age of their child. Just consider it very carefully. Assume that the age of maturity to be able to get a child is any time from teenage. So that means anybody who is 13 years, 14 years, 15 years and above, if they got a child at their teenage, if you are 13 years, 14 years, 15 years younger, then you could be their child in terms of the age. If the difference is 20 years, that means that if that person got a child at their 18, or at age 18, if they got a child at age 18, then probably you can be their child. So the advisable age is anything not more than 10 years. A difference of 10 years, that means you are in the same age bracket. You have been born into the same technological realities. There is no much difference, but it is advisable to discuss it carefully, to engage with your spouse to be, so that time will not come when they feel, as you engage on serious matters, that one of you is a child. It is possible that the older spouse may feel like the partner is childish. Number 3, difference in education. Remember that education gives us exposure. It opens up our minds. It allows us to interact with different people of diverse origins, of diverse cultures, and of diverse practices. Because at one point, when you begin to engage on serious issues that need to engage your mind, the partner with lower qualifications in terms of education probably gets challenged on one or two issues. It is possible for them to feel intimidated and to feel disrespected. That can become a serious issue, especially when you want to engage on matters that involve researching, that involve engaging your minds. You can easily find yourself in serious conflict. Number 4, children born by one of the spouses before marriage. Do not just assume that someone will accept your child if you got a child outside marriage or before you got married. It is not easy for someone to just accept, as long as you engage and discuss and agree and evaluate this matter carefully. Then it is possible to carry on. But if you do not discuss this issue carefully and seriously, it can become a serious source of conflict. And that child will grow with the rejection, heartbreaks, and serious pain. It will affect both of you because you will be in constant conflict about raising this child, their discipline, their education, provision, and all those demands that come with raising a child. Number 5, the social class. Let's be real, that if you are born in a ghetto, it is not that easy for you to connect automatically with a child that was born in the palace. That is the reality where your spouse to be grew up. Those social differences affect the expectations. For example, a child who was born, they found their parents with vehicles, like 3 or 4 vehicles. To them, that is not a big deal. To be driven to school every morning is not a big deal. To be taken for dinner is not a big deal. But assume you come from the ghetto, you don't have a car, you use motorbikes for means of transport and public vehicles. Then you are dating this girl who comes from such a setup. At first, she may be excited about it, but when the reality dawns and she realizes that you're not boarding a bus because you want to do it for fun, it's because you do not have money, then she'll be shocked, because for her, it may be for fun. Maybe she'll board that vehicle, that public vehicle, for fun. But for you, it is the reality because you do not have money. Engage on those issues seriously and do not take them for granted. Finally, number 6, cultural differences. Engage about cultural differences, and I alluded to that a bit in the first point, but you need to discuss what are the cultural expectations of yourself and of your family. What is expected of me as a husband according to your culture? Those discussions are very critical so that you are not going through culture shocks. You're being told that we have to do things like this according to our culture. And some people hide behind culture to intimidate and harass their spouses or their partners into doing things that they are not comfortable doing. So those are very important discussions that you should engage. 6 important issues to consider before getting married. Number 1, rejection of your spouse by your family. Engage, evaluate, and find out why your family, your relatives, or your friends could be rejecting your spouse to be. Because sometimes love may be blind at that heat of the moment, but when the reality comes, then that love will grow eyes. Number 2, age differences. Do not take it for granted. The age difference is a critical issue to discuss so that you don't find yourself engaging with someone who feels that you are childish. Because the moment your spouse feels that you are too young for them, then when you engage on issues, they may feel like you are childish. Number 3, difference in education. Do not get married to someone who is too highly qualified in terms of education, such that when you engage on any issues, you are only listening to them. You can't contribute to anything, or otherwise you feel intimidated by their exposure, by their knowledge. Then when you contribute your points, you feel like they don't make any sense. Be careful and engage on that seriously. Number 4, any child born out of that specific marriage. Maybe you got a child before you got into marriage. Do not subject that child into pain of rejection. If the person is not interested in raising that child that you got out of marriage, you better not settle down with that person. Number 5, social class. If you live in the ghetto, do not just assume that you can get married to the president's daughter, a child born in the palace or in the state house. Sometimes as you board public vehicles, they may do it out of fun and just trying to explore and see how it feels boarding a public vehicle. But for you, you board public vehicles because you do not have money. When the reality comes between both of you, she will be shocked to realize that you do not have a car. Because maybe she was born into a family where there were 3, 4, 5 cars. But for you, you only see them on the road. Discuss that very seriously. And finally, number 6, cultural differences. Engage with your spouse to be so that you don't get yourself into culture shocks, such that they tell you, according to our culture, we do things like this, according to our culture, we do things like this. Thank you very much. Be careful. Love is blind, but sometimes when the reality comes, the love opens the eyes.